The following is brought to you in part by a grant from the Foundation for White Wellbeing.
They made of them, but that's not them. And here we are. Let me know that the microphone is working. Pop-up. Going free. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everything is working all right. Had to make quite a few changes to the system. Robert reposted the stream. Great to see you, and thank you so much. Savage Monday is here. Over there on Premium Rumble. Hello, aliens exist. Great to see you. Came to hit the like button. I'm stuck at work at the moment, he says. Hello to everyone for White Wellbeing. Sound is good, says Justin McDaniel. JK160 is here. American Eagle is in the house. Dennis is here. Hyperborean Dream, APK, Cool, Bubba J Magic, the Nameless One. Garlos is here. I want to thank y'all for coming over. Finger Fretter is here. Hello and welcome. Finger Fretter said when I was reading, I saw on the replay that I had perfect cadence. Rapunzel is here. Tommy is here. Good to see you. Let your friends know that we're here. And it is Halloween. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in the midst of a Halloween street, as you can see. I've been teleported to this realm, and we are going to be in the midst of this epic little village as we have some fun today. We answer some questions. We ask some questions. Savage Monday says loud and clear over here on Premium Rumble. Well, it is, as always, when we come together, despite the little extras that we have going on, it is, as always, you tag me as No White Guilt across the many platforms. And they do all appear to be up and running, including the Dude Bro Moment platform, Premium Rumble. You can financially gift there, financially gift on the app that permits cash, if you feel moved to do so. It is kind of like trick-or-treating on Subscribe Star as well, and over on Premium Rumble. And just looking on the back end, yes, everything is looking wonderful. And of course, D-Live, the Dude Bro Moment platform, nowhiteguilt.org, the Foundation for White Wellbeing.org, 501c3 premier institution in service to white well-being. If you are showing up today or watching in replay, which you should be doing, either live or in replay, you should know that we achieve colossal victories in the lives of Westmen, men, women, and children. And the lexicon works beautifully. It's promulgated all the way up to the President of the United States by the work that we do here, and we show the receipts every Sunday. We want you to be a part of that. And after we're done here with this little pop-up going free, rolling in going free, today we're going to have another little round table over there on X, and we will launch that as soon as we're done. If you would like to share, get on the mic and share some of your thoughts about how totally epic we are and white well-being, because that's what's happening. Boo! Happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. Boo. It could be about anything, though. You could share your thoughts when we get together, probably be there for about an hour. We would like you to participate. So we'll be launching that when we are done. Tag me across the numerous platforms, of course, on YouTube as @ No White Guild. Herman says, hello, NWG and chat. So we're going to have a lot of fun here today. You can head on over to nowhiteguilt.org to find a lot of the work that we do and the fun that we have, the victories that we have. We can never say enough, but be ready for responsibility, because that's what you have to have here in service to white well-being. We're not going to give you an excuse to not be responsible and get active yourself, just watching the world burn down around us. But a very big Halloween, happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. You can hear the epic music playing in the background, and of course, it's happy Halloween, and white well-being. Happy Halloween and white well-being. I hope that the great Vonol, who I see has just arrived, will take a skip back on the timeline and see that we were playing some of his epic tunage to begin. Very scary epic tunage to begin. The beasts that have come in and they were killing because of the open borders and they were slaughtering the people. Yes, I have broken out my sloths mug. This is a depiction of the great sloths as a baby sloths. He's hanging on to my cup. Delicious. Yes, indeed. We have so many mugs here today for me to choose from. I think I got everything up and running. It was a race against time, is what it was. A race. Great to see the great Fornull and Eva has shown up. Hyperborean Dream. Fornull says, cool, I like that song. I love that song, just so you know. Play it at family get. We play so much Fornull. I remember one time we were playing Fornull, little family get together, and we were throwing darts. We were having a good time. We have some intense dart competitions at times, various competitions. In fact, we have, over the years, we've had trophies, and we have these different holidays, and then we issue trophies, and then they have to be recycled to the next person that wins on that holiday. But you get it for a year. A lot of cool things. Well, it is Halloween. What have you all been doing so far? Let me know. Tag me as No White Guilt. I want to hear what you've been up to or what you plan to be up to. But we were playing darts, and I believe it was darts that time. And we were playing the epic Fornull in the background. And my father said, who is this country music singer? Who is this guy? And we said he was very much entertained by the great Fornull. He wanted more Fornull. He wanted country Fornull, though. So we had to explain to him he's multi-talented, you see. But we have a couple of readings that we'll do here today. I think I will read another little scary portion from Prometheus Rising. And what else do we have here? We have Halloween questions galore that we're going to ask you. A bunch of fun ones I've looked up. We have, we've got a flashback video that we'll play that. Maybe we'll even toss in Uncle Murray from yesterday as he showed up. And let's see what else. God, that was, it's fun. The Juicebergs really, they like that. They like that when they... when they're busy saying, don't listen to him, he's a Jew. He's a Jew. We have ghost stories. Do you have any ghost stories that you want to share? I want to hear them. Tag me as No White Guilt. At least, whatever you are able to write in the chat. And we have a reading from the Cask of Amontillado. But I've got to apologize ahead of time. I am not really prepared to read, but we're going to give it our best college try. How does that sound? We're going to give it our best college try. Cindy Ben has joined us. Wonderful to see you. Well, tag me as No White Guilt. And why don't we get ready and have a little flashback right now. Really, where it is at, folks. This is really where change is being made. Mr. George said it all there. Thank you, everybody here, for being with us, spending the night with us on Halloween. It's been really glorious. And I'll just say, a final thought. I think next year, Mr. George and I will actually wear costumes to the event rather than our normal gear that we wear on the stage at Chippendales. So we will see you all. Thank you so much.
Normal Saturday night for us, folks.
Yeah, normal Saturday night.
Yeah, we got to get, the 11:30 show's coming up, Jason, so we got to get ready.
Got to get back on the stage, and we'll see you all then next. Little flashback of fun there to get the evening rolling. Anti-Vilification League is joining us. Halloween is catching on in Australia. He says, last night there were thousands upon thousands of white kids all dressed up and trick-or-treating in my area. Isn't that wonderful? I love the good old days when the little white children in their beautiful little costumes, they came up, and the little boys were always something fearsome, and the little girls were ever so cute. They were princesses and fairies and all kinds of. Nowadays, the little boys are fairies. Things have changed. That's how the world works, though, until we have come along and started changing things. let's start off with this question. What was your favorite Halloween costume? What was it? Get involved. Join me in the village of Halloween. Join me, ladies and gentlemen, in the village of Halloween. And let's see. My favorite, I don't know. I was Dracula a few years, and I really liked that. My mother made a cape. She didn't go buy a cape. She made a cape, and it was, I think it was velvet. I think at least it felt soft to me. And she made the inside of it red, and the outside was black, of course. That was marvelous. That was a great. But I think I was Benjamin Franklin. I think that was one of my favorites of all time at the elementary school. And we had all of the little children. We all dressed up, of course, to go to school in Halloween. Are they allowed to do Halloween anymore? Does anybody know where you are at the schools? Are they allowed to celebrate? Because it is very white. It's a very white thing to do. So are we allowed to even practice Halloween at our schools anymore? And it does indeed appear that Entropy, thank you, Hyperborean Dream, because now I know that it's working. But we'll come back. Thank you so very much to celebrate you for that, brother. But I don't even know. It's a very white thing. They'll have to change it, won't they? They'll have to change it and make it terribly anti-white. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of pumpkins in this town. Everywhere I turn, there's a pumpkin, and it's been carved into a jack-o'-lantern. I saw a couple of hilarious videos of, photographs, actually, of pumpkins. A guy said he was disqualified from the pumpkin carving competition. And essentially what it was he had put a thong, like lace panty thong, on a pumpkin, and then hands around. And it was pulled a little to the side. Yeah, I could see him being disqualified for that. That can happen. But I want to get some of these questions aside from this one. I'm going to see if I can get them together and put them up on the screen for all of us so we can see at least some of them on the screen. And we have, those questions, and we have some curios from the internet, maybe that I'll be able to put together and put up on the screen that we didn't have time for prior to getting together. But we got so much here that is going to be enjoyable. How many other places are you going to find things like a live reading of the Cask of Amontillado and The Raven, read by yours truly in video years ago, and we'll play that, I think. Craig the Man says, I was the headless horseman. My father helped me create the costume and made blood shoot out of the neck one year. Oh my God. So were the shoulders up like above your head, or did you have a jack-o'-lantern head? That was a scary as hell story when I was a kid. I remember asking, why is he chasing him? He wants his head, son. He wants his head. Anybody else? Tag me as No Wine Guild. My father was really into making stuff like that, says Craig. Well, that's awesome. A lot of white people, they get involved in all kinds of interesting things where they can show off their creativity and ingenuity, mechanical knowledge. Who else? Does anybody else here have a favorite costume from, a childhood or adulthood? We know that, especially, I don't know so much of the guys, but some of the, some women in their costumes should be kind of year round. Others should be imprisoned. But that's how the world works, I guess. 07s to the great 4-0. 07, back to you, brother. Dracula, says Justin. And Ninja Turtles. Oh, totally awesome. Yes, the Ninja Turtles were the top go-to for Halloween. How many of you had, or did you have both? Did you have sometimes where either mom or dad or another relative made the costume, and then other times you purchased the costume? And what's better, a purchased costume or one made at home? What was your experience? What is the better type of costume? The great cool Papa, J Magic, chiming in. One time, my best friend and I went to a Halloween party not dressed up. They demanded we had a costume. So we switched jackets and went as each other. We both had very recognizable jackets. So they went as that qualifies. Was everybody chill after that? Were they like, sure, that makes sense? Dennis said he was a child hunter. Does that mean you were a child who was a hunter, or that you hunted children? Carlos says a combination. Some made it home, some bought at the store. Have you ever gone to a Halloween party where some of the people there were a little inappropriately dressed? You know what I mean? Some of them there were a little inappropriately dressed. They were perhaps even in a state of dishabille. And those that were in a state of dishabille, some of them, you probably wanted them like that. And others, you probably really didn't want them like that. Did you ever experience it? Because I did. Oh, boy. Did you ever attend a Halloween party where there were people dressed like this, wild costumes, and some in very sexy costumes, and then someone tried to take advantage of you? Maybe that happened to me. Maybe that happened to me. Carlos has made it home, but a combination. Yes, indeed, sir. Let's see. Tritanic with the jack-o'-lanterns in the live chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's get some jack-o'-lanterns. Let's get some ghosts. Let's get into the Halloween spirit. I think what we'll do, while we mull over and we're kind of warming up to, you have joined me in the village. We're kind of, you kind of joined me in the village. Well, maybe, you know what? Excuse me. Maybe what we should do is, what was that? What was the song that dude, Bro Moment, wanted me to sing some of? I don't even know. Is that Notorious? Happy Halloween Eve. Happy Halloween's Eve. Well, happy Halloween's Eve to you. Happy Samhain. Wanderers here. The nameless one. There we go. Now I see some ghosts. We're getting into the spirit. My mother was a brutal machine at carving jack-o'-lanterns. She could turn them out like you wouldn't believe. Did you enjoy carving pumpkins? Did you carve any this year? I did not. But did you enjoy carving them? Was it fun? Did you ever have a year that you went all out? Let's see. Dog goes woof, cat goes meow, bird goes tweet, and mouse goes squeak. Cow goes moo, frog goes croak, and the elephant goes toot. Ducks say quack, fish go blub, and the seal goes ow, ow, ow. But there's one sound that no one knows. What does a fox say? Ring, ding, 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 ring, ding, 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 ding. What's a fox say? Wop up. Is it that one next? The wappa? Wop up, pop up, pop up, pow. Wop up, pop up, pop up, pow. Wop up, pop up, pop up, pow. What's a fox say? Hattie, hattie, hattie ho. Hattie, hattie, hattie ho. Hattie, hattie, hattie ho. What's a fox say? Yip, 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 yip. Yip, 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 yip. What's a fox say? Big blue eyes, pointy nose, chasing mice and digging holes, tiny paws up the hill. Suddenly you're standing still. Your fur is red, so beautiful, like an angel in disguise. But if you meet a friendly horse, will you communicate by more? How will you speak to that horse? What does a fox say? So when Dude Bro Moment shows up, when Dude Bro Moment shows up, okay, for bragging rights, what is the song and who sings it? I'm going to have to look it up. It's got to, obviously, what does the fox say? You don't look it up. This is for bragging rights. Who sings it? Well, I can't even pronounce the name. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to wait till somebody knows it. Who is the singer? Carlos says, nonsense. Yes, indeed. That's what we're doing. It's Halloween. We're having fun. Notorious says, was watching this black YouTube host calling some white dudes supremacists for thinking white societies are better than African societies. Well, we are obviously, inclined by our nature to find Western society more amenable to our spirit because Western society is our society. And therefore, I don't feel at home in black culture or the societies they create. So it's perfectly natural. Your society is your culture. Your culture is a reflection of your biospirit in its aggregate. That creates either harmony if it's your culture or disharmony, biospiritual disharmony if it's someone else's. So the anti-white black guy is wrong. For himself, he's right. For himself, he's right. Now, of course, he's here, he's not leaving. He wants to avail himself of the money, the opportunity, the security, the safety, the white women. You can't blame him for that. Have you seen his mother? Herman says, you see that ridiculous African diaspora channel? No. Are we on X? Are we following each other on X? Can you direct message it to me? Or write the name of it in the live chat and tag me as No White Guild. Maybe we'll pull it up. John Garrison is here. Azamul Clark is in the house. John Garrison says, in 4th grade, my mom made me a costume. I was Mario wearing the raccoon suit. From Super Mario 3, your mother made it. Awesome. She repurposed the tail off my coon skin cap for it. Brilliant. Now, did you replace the tail on the coon skin cap? You know, I've never had one of those, but maybe for the hell of it, I'm going to have to get one and wear a coon skin cap. And that is not a reference to the previous question. I just want to clear that up about the particular YouTuber. LOL, he says, Herman says, angry left-wing people, a lot, I'm sorry, of angry anti-whites come out asking people not to go trick or treat in case knock on door of Muslim people or other foreign nationals. Well, of course, Halloween, all of our holidays will be white erased to comport to the biospiritual norms of other races of people. And so the only way that they're going to stay true to the way that we like them is by us being the supermajority and us demanding our will be done in our environment to conform to our norms. Yes. Mestizo Koff has joined us. Good to see you. Now that Fox song is in my head forever. That's a sticky song. It's an earworm. Remember, tag me as No White Guilt if you'd like for me to see what you are sharing. Share, my friends. Did anybody get the artist or the band? Did anybody get the artist or the band of the Fox song? I'm waiting to find the bragging writer. I heard some areas canceled Halloween, as said it might offend non-white communities. Herman said that. I would like to know if we could find out if there are any news on that. Please let me know, because it's another perfect example of the Go Free dialogic and exactly how anti-whiteism operates. Let me know. Okay, Herman says, I only use YouTube. Okay, well, tag me as No White Guilt and then put their channel name. And if they're a big enough channel, I'm sure it'll come up. I'm sure they're being promoted by YouTube. You could write out, I mean, it's just obviously this exaggeration, but this is practically where we're at, where you could be like, okay, you get into YouTube search and you're like, I went No White Guilt, doesn't come up. No White Guilt, Jason Kuna, doesn't come up. No White Guilt, Jason Kuna, his social security number, doesn't come up. That's where we are, though. Let me grab some of these questions and maybe some of the curios. I don't see any other comments, any new comments here on Premium Rumble. Let me check over here on Grimbart over here on D-Lab. Great to see you. Truth is Our Reality is here. Wonderful to see you both. And let's see what Grimbart has. Remember, tag me as No White Guilt. No White Guilt. Halloween to me is a tool. Oh, Grimbart thinks that Halloween is a negative for white people. And I've met people, others, Grimbart, who feel the same way, and I've had conversations with them. It's like all things in our world. We can't but manifest ourselves through whatever it is, through a holiday, through a celebration, through a religion. So the moment we take it and manipulate it into what satisfies our instinct, our bio-spiritual expression, it becomes of us, which is not to say that the other holidays that you're referencing should be overlooked or ignored. And of course, they shouldn't. Bass is here. Good to see you. So why don't we do this? I'll be keeping my eye on the live chat over here. It's Robert's house on X. Robert owns the house on the live chat over there on X. I'm going to get I'm going to see if I can get some of these questions together and maybe some of the curios. And and then, or while we're doing that, I guess I should say, we can listen to maybe a little bit of The Raven. It is should be a yearly thing. We all get together, you with your families, you listen to The Raven, your hierarch, reading The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, one of magnificent writers of all time. I don't guess we have somebody who knows the name. I don't see it. Nobody has tagged me for that song. We'll leave it open in case somebody gets it. We'll have to think of some more Halloween songs or scary songs. Trust me, you will be entertained by these polar opposite at the African Diaspora News. Oh, my God. African diaspora. Mm-hmm. They live a different reality. Well, you know what's amazing about that is by living in their own story, they'll be, depending on what their precepts and edicts and etc. the lens, but they're at least on the right path by being in their own story. And that's ahead of the rest of the white race, aside from us here. So let me see. Anybody know some Halloween songs? Oh, Fornall, thank you for that. Nobody is here. He says, did I spook anybody? With your nobodiness, you could, but you haven't yet. What's the one about the lady that flies over the moon? What's that song? Something about she was bit by a dog. Wanderer is here. My local news was reporting on a white man who put an asylum display at his house and said that the mayor and ADL wanted him to take it down. The ADL? For resembling a, quote, Holocaust and black lynching. It's fascinating how the story you're in manipulates and is used as the interpretive data for what you see in the world. It's this fascinating function of the human animal and how we train our brains to operate with the conscious mind. So perfectly in keeping with the anti-white narrative. I am not surprised. Where the bad folks go when they die, they don't go to heaven where the angels fly. Go to a lake of fire and fry. See 'em again till the 4th of July. That's it. I knew a lady, she came from Duluth, bit by a dog with a rabid tooth. Went to her grave just a little too soon. Flew away howling on a yellow moon. Where the bad folks go when they die, they don't go to heaven where the angels fly. Go to a lake of fire and fry. See 'em again till the 4th of July. People cry and people moan. Look for a dry place to call their own. Try to find a place to rest their bones while the angels and the devils try to make them their own. Where the bad folks go when they die, they don't go to heaven where the angels fly. Go to a lake of fire and fry. See 'em again till the 4th of July. I love that album from the Meat Puppets. It's for Null. It's for Null has the bragging rights. Monster Mash. Yes, Herman, we'll have to do that one too. The For Null is in with the Meat Puppets. That was a little bit of at a left field. And Nirvana is, yes, Nirvana. Nirvana covered, yes, Lake of Fire. And did they covered others from the Meat Puppets, yes or no? Do I have that wrong? All right, let us listen to the Raven, and we will continue this glorious gathering together. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow. Sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping, tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more." Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculpted bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul and that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said, "Nevermore." Startled at the stillness broken by replies so aptly spoken, "Doubtless," said I, "what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of nevermore." But the raven, still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then
Upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy on to fancy thinking, what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, the God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aden it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word a sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonium shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
We are rolling in, going free, ladies and gentlemen. The Raven, Edgar Allan Poe, read that years ago. Took some artistic liberty with some pronunciations because I thought it flowed better. Let me take a look at what you all are writing here. I saw some tags go by. Oh, that was Fernal Nirvana did cover the Meatpups Oh Me, Plateau, and Lake of Fire. All right. Herman, I know this song from a PlayStation. a game called Street Racer of a character named Frank that is very Halloween themed. Sweet. Wanderer says, my local news was reporting on a white man. Okay, we read that. We did have Rapunzel found an article about anti-whites getting very irked, it looks, about Halloween. Is spooky season insensitive? What to know about the terms racist, origin, etiquette? Okay, whatever. We'll open that for a minute because why not? CKO is here. Hello and happy Halloween. Is Samuski here? Yes, he is. Samuski has joined us for the Creeptacular Halloween roll-in special. Make sure you tag me as No White Guilt if you have something you would like me to see, something you would like me to speak to. We've got questions. We've got too many questions to put up on the screen, but I am going to ask a couple. We've got a lot of fun. We've got more things. I'm going to read maybe a little portion of Prometheus Rising that's kind of battle-ish happening in that segment of the story. It also fits Halloween in the scary, maybe even gory segment. I'll explain it as we get to it. We have Uncle Murray, and maybe we'll show that clip. What else do we have here? We have a miniature quick news and laughs, mostly Halloween curios that we're going to take a look at. So make sure you get ready, get your drink of choice, your snack of choice, and settle in for a little bit more fun. And then I think I have here the Cask of Amontillado. And as I say, there's been unfortunately no time to prepare, but I did read it. I was required to read it in high school, and I did not. But I did read it, I don't know, my early 20s, very early 20s. Samuski. CKO says, a very happy Halloween to you all. It was a great one for me over here. Just stop by quickly to say hello. Well, Halloween hello to you. Samuski says, happy Halloween, gents. Well, a big happy Halloween. Now, Azumu Clark says, great reading. Thank you for that. Yeah, really, it's definitely a case where, given general societal interest in poetry and the fan base of Edgar Allan Poe and the dearth of readings of his work, and in particular, The Raven really having a holiday for people to every year come back to. And you would think, you go out and you listen to any other readings that are out there, you would think that one would get a lot of attention. But in fact, it was getting very little. And then countries in Europe banned it. So I created a new version that says through their curtain at the very beginning. That's how you know you're looking at that one. I started it just after that on here and posted it again. But I guess that's just the way it's going to be. I guess that's the way it's going to be. JK160 say he loves the background. I know, I'm actually here. I am in this village. Maximilian von Fock used his magical abilities and has transported me to the town. So I think there's some kind of a Grim Reaper up there, and but she's a Grimmette Reaperette. She's a Grim Reaperette, and I don't think she's here for my soul. I think she's here for other things. I think she's here for other things. All right, well, let's get to a couple of these Halloween questions. Really quick, you could jump in. Would you rather walk through a haunted house or act in a haunted house? Would you rather, now here we're talking about the fun haunted houses. Would you rather walk through one and have people screaming at you and jumping out and chainsaws? Or would you rather be the person jumping out doing the screaming and working the chainsaw? Remember when we watched, it was like 6 months ago now, that horrible clip where this black woman took her little black baby in the stroller to one of these haunted fun houses, and the idiots there fired up a chainsaw, and the black baby lost like 8 of the 9 lives. American Eagle says, a great reading of The Raven. Read it in high school, and it is still awesome. It's one of the just absolute greatest works of all time. I concur. Thank you. Fornell says you should put some silk fall leaves on your clothes. You see, that's here you have somebody who's like amateur, and then you got Fornell, who is like professional. Bring the scene into the space. I would have made that happen if I would have thought of it, let me tell you. So if I would have spoken with Fornell, this would be even more epic. Jeffrey is here. Don't Fear the Reaper by the Blue Oyster Cult. The tune is not coming. I know this, but I can't recall the words. Anybody have any answers for would you rather walk through I never was a fan of walking. What the hell is up with that? I was never a fan. People, when I was a child and a teen and a young, they were like, hey, you want to go through it? I was like, no. Why would I want to go walk through a building in the dark with people yelling at me? It just never appealed to me. But you know, people got different tastes. Cindy says it's a hard question to answer. Well, let's see if we can find an easier one. Would you rather have to go trick-or-treating every year for the rest of your life? Every year for the rest of your life, or show up to every party of any type that you go to in a costume? What would it be? Trick or treat, no matter how old you get, your old ass is going to be wheeling up to people's houses. You're going to be totally mortified. You're going to be like, trick or treat. Or get into a costume for every part. Now, it doesn't say here what kind of costume it has to be. So you could choose the costume. Or if you have, I really would like to, does anybody have a ghost encounter or what they believe could have been a ghost encounter? If you have that to share, then tag me and share a little bit, share and share away. And don't forget that when we're done here, we're going to get together for a little bit of ecstasy at the round table. You're going to mic up or you're going to GTFO? And you could share there if you'd like, so you could make a mental note and come back. It'll be right on my X account. So I'll be looking for you there, just in case you don't have time to share, or maybe it's too much to write. Going as a sandpiper, shocking the heck out of his innocent dog. What a great guy, right? He has the dog in the stream to make it look like he's an animal person, he's an animal lover. And then he's got the dog rigged up to wires around the collar. I could tell you a funny joke about that. So that he can zap it for moving. You're just a prop. Bzzz. You're just a prop. Azimuth Clark says, for that question, he would take wearing a costume to every party he goes to He says he would not want to knock on random doors. The Shire is burning. Let's see. Yeah, I was at a party, talking about a party, and the homeowner had a shock collar because the dog was, I think, going to get her evicted. And the thing was just barking all the time. But at the moment, the collar, at that moment, the collar was not on the dog. It was lying on top of her microwave. And I asked, I was like, how much, kick does this thing have? Is it really strong? And she said, well, I have no idea. And I was like, I'm not like wuss when it comes to animals. I mean, if you got to use a cattle prod to get a cow out of the way, then that you got to do it, right? But I'm at the same time an animal lover. I think that's the right balance for a Westman. But I said, you know what? I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it on and see what happens. And it's charged up, and it worked by way of responding to what I thought was sound. Like I said, how does it work? She said, I don't know. And I said, well, maybe it is sound activated. Sounds right. It's like the clapper for your dog. You remember the old lady and the clapper commercials way back in the day? So I put this damn thing on, and I was talking kind of quietly because I was thinking it was going to kick on from sound, and I got a little shock right into my throat. Here's the issue, though. A dog and most animals, they got thick skin. They got thick, heavier skin, and probably more muscle. Especially some dogs, obviously gonna have a lot more muscle around the neck. This is just like my arteries in my esophagus. It's like nothing in between. So I got a little kick, and I said, "Ooh, it must be vibration." That's how it works. That ended up being the way it worked, not sound. And I said, "Ooh, it must be vibration." And then when I said that, it kicked me again, but this time stronger. And when it hit me that time, like I felt my neck muscles like, yeah. And I said, "Ooh," like out loud. That produced a lot of vibration. And then it kicked me like a fucking mule right in the throat. And I was trying to get my fingers and unhook it. Everybody was laughing. So now you don't have to do it. Party games. They come in all time, especially when you're down south. All kind of party games. Walter says, hello. Well, hello to you. Azimuth Clark, the sane one in the room, saying, never electrocute your neck. I wish I had you there that day. JK160 say his kids have so much candy. Did you take your children out trick-or-treating tonight? Did they bring back a haul? How did that go? Herman says, was you ever aware of South African YouTuber Ronaldo? Is that Gauss? No. You'll have to give me the title to the channel. Sam Musky says, I would rather be the haunted house scary feature, jumping out and scaring folks. I think I would make a great pirate. That's awesome. Yeah, I think if I were forced to either be one or the other, either walk through the fun house and be yelled at, or be the person yelling, I guess I would take that, be the person yelling, because at least I would have fun scaring the living shit out of people. Which of course I did to all my siblings. And yes, they're in therapy still. Raven in flies. Wow. Call. Hello and welcome. You'll have to take a little step back and listen to the reading of the Raven. You'll enjoy it. A famous saying, rarely heard now, kicks like a mule. Yes. It definitely kicked me in the throat like a mule. Yeah, and I'm sure it completely disfigured my throat because I felt all the muscles contract and like head toward the metal prongs on it, the 2 metal nails. So I don't know what happened to the dog. I don't know, maybe she got evicted, but I don't know what she was doing with it. Why its collar wasn't on then. It's a party. All right, let's see about one more question, and then maybe we'll take a brief look at Uncle Murray's visit. And it's a short little vid. We have, would you rather sleep in the basement of a real haunted house by yourself for one night, or sleep in a cemetery for one night? What's your choice? Sleep in the basement by yourself of a home that many are telling you is 100% haunted, or sleep in the cemetery for one night? Savage Monday is over here. Says a ghost encounter that he had. Okay, now we're getting into some business. A ghost encounter was he was on staff duty in the 427. Wait, maybe I should not read that out loud about exactly where, and don't want to give anything away for who you are. But it was a battalion building, and he was above the main office. It was around 0200, and we hear a bang from upstairs. NCO says to check it out. So we do, and when we unlock the shop that was up there, a file cabinet was on its side and everything locked up tight. Whoa, that's sketchy. Were you armed? Because I know I would be pulling that. Everybody says to me, you can't shoot a ghost. Damn if I'm not gonna try. I'll tell you what. I'll put so many holes in that ghost. You can't shoot a ghost, Jason. They always told me, you can't shoot. Why are you grabbing your gun? Why not? It'll know I mean business. I, of course, have a little bit of a ghost story I've told a time or two over the years. When I was living in an old, broken down, horrifying, I lived there one night, horrifying Victorian mansion. It's the kind of thing that if you are spooked out at all, you would stand outside and look at that and you would say, yeah, never going in there. Never going in. And I went in. The ceilings were like 12 feet tall. It was, it completely gave you the feeling that it was haunted by the devil himself, Beelzebub. All right, thank you, Herman. He was quite known in the early days of YouTube, but became political over in South Africa. I'll have to check him out. Thank you, brother. I did pull up the Black Nationalists. Maybe we'll take a look at them. That fits Halloween. All right, what do we have here for answers? Garlos says the basement. He would take the basement by himself. He said he already tried sleeping in a cemetery. No thanks. Okay, so it would be you would choose the basement of the haunted house because the cemetery you tried and it didn't work out. Something went wrong. Dennis says he would prefer the cemetery. Nameless One says it depends if I'll be any warmer in the haunted basement. Well, you probably would be warmer. Well, I mean, we don't know the time of year for the cemetery. Maybe it would be a sultry summer night. Think of all the stuff you could get up to. I was with a group of friends back in October 2011. We went to this abandoned house and barn, and we got busted for trespassing by a man with a light. He told us to leave the house, so we did. Sounds very white of you. Well done. So you entered the cemetery, and to get around the fencing and get back to the truck in the countryside, no street lights. Yeah, people don't know. If folks don't go out into the country, they don't know how dark it can get. Blackness. Did you see MTG attacking Republican men in her ex-post? I did. JK160 asks, I can imagine being around that woman during one of her meltdowns. I bet it's terrifying. Yep, I'm sure it is. CKO says cemetery full of vibes. Recently back from Edinburgh, where I stayed overlooking the famous was it Greyfriars Kirkyard and visited another, what is that? Cuthbert's Graveyard? Both excellent. With Halloween stories. The man, Carlos says the man was a ghost? The man with a flashlight was a ghost? All right. Well, that would be the end for me. Or that would be the end for him. He better hope he was, or I'd be making him one. I'd be making him one real quick. Let's take a look at Uncle Murray really quickly, and we'll be back to the readings and the questions and your comments and more music. And this piece of news is spooky season insensitive. What to know about the terms racist origins, etiquette. Is this working? Is this working? Hello? Hello? Hello, is it working? Hello, I'm Uncle Murray. I'd claim Jason as a relation if he didn't dance like a rubber chicken. He's downstairs working on the router right now. I figured I would pop in and say hello to you since I'm staying over for a few days. How are you all doing? Yeah, he's working on the router. Is this working? Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me or not. He's working on the router. You should have seen he was a busybody when he was a little child. When he was a baby, I used to throw pennies across the floor, and he would chase them. He would chase them like one of them little whippet dogs. He would chase. Every time I threw a penny across the floor, he would chase it. It's in the blood. Tell you the truth, I don't know what he did with him, but he was always after them, always chasing him. He was always a dancer. Even when he was young, all the way up, dancing like a rubber chicken. We were at a wedding,
and he gyrated by the table, and 3 of the girls immediately went into heat. One of them, my girlfriend. I should have thanked him for that. She had the passion of a hibernating bear, and about the same proportions. So what are y'all doing? What do you talk about when you get together? Who's in the... Look at all the people here. Cool. Who is this? Cool Papa J Magic? Mr. Magic, why are you cool? Do you have an iron deficiency? Is that why you're cool? A neighbor, Barbara, she had an iron deficiency. Her tongue swelled up and hung out of her mouth like she was a drugged horse. Every day we saw her with this tongue hanging out of her mouth from the iron deficiency. And you know, she had a peculiar desire to eat peculiar things. You know, you look at the bushes and the cats, they like to go in the bushes and do their business. We all know this. We couldn't keep Barbara out of the bushes. So you should have your iron checked. You should make sure you're not having an iron deficiency. You'll know when your tongue's hanging out. It's swollen and hanging out. Poor Barbara. Never knew what happened to her. Who else is over here? Who else do we have? Franklin. I knew a Franklin. Franklin Papadopoulos. He lived in the neighborhood. You know that? He was a good guy. Every time he mowed his yard, he would shout, "I'm not a turtle. I'm not a turtle." We never knew what he meant. We figured it had something to do with Wyke. I tell you, I'm so happy to be retired. I changed jobs like you wouldn't believe. Every time I turned around, I was changing a job. I changed jobs like I was a squirrel swapping acorns at a nut convention. That's how often I changed jobs. Who else is here? I went on a lot of conventions when I was working. I went to Tennessee for a convention. Yeah, you believe it? There was a beautiful building. I remember I saw it. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous, and there was a sign out front. It said, "Come in, come in." So I went in. And when I got inside, there was a preacher. He was giving a sermon. It was one of these Baptist preachers. You know what I'm talking about? And it was a fiery speech he was giving to the congregation. Oh, it was amazing. I can go back, immediately transported in my mind, my memory. When I go think about it, I go right back to that moment when I was standing in the back of this beautiful structure, and the preacher was up front and he was giving his fiery sermon. What is one of the greatest evils of our age, he says? Gambling, he says. Gambling. Who makes the most money? Who owns a fleet of sports cars, the nicest of sports cars? Who lives on the mansion on the hill? Who has the best looking girlfriends? Or the best looking girlfriends? Who has the best looking girlfriends? It's the casino owner. And he gets all of his money from you. I was so excited from the sermon. He saw me and he came right over. The preacher did. He came right over and he said, you, sir, are suffering from a gambling addiction. And I said, no, but I'm going to open a casino. And that's how I got in the slot machine business. It's one thing after another. So who else is here? Who else is here tonight? I don't even know how this works. Oh, I think I hear Jason coming back. He probably fixed the router. I better haul ass. Bye for now.
That, of course, was Uncle Murray. Stopped by, had to say hello when I was fixing things during the stream. Want to know the best Halloween costume is for an O'Reilly's employee? An AutoZone uniform. I often walk into O'Reilly's store in uniform singing the AutoZone song. That's funny. Let me see if anybody else had anything else to share about the haunted house, walking through one, or being the person scaring the other, or sleeping in the cemetery, or the basement of a haunted house. Savage Monday said they were not under arms, so they did not have firearms. When they came upon that cabinet tipped over, yeah, that would have me doing some investigation for sure. All right, let's see. I don't see any other. Tag me if you definitely want to catch me. With a comment, an opinion. Finger Fretter said Jason could be in vaudeville. I appreciate that. Herman said there are gambling problems in the UK. They're everywhere, brother. Best friend of Jesus is with us. Good to see you. All right, let's jump into then a brief reading of Prometheus Rising. And we'll have a brief reading of Prometheus Rising. And what's happening at this point in the story is the Prometheans, us, if you will, are at war with the Seranim. And the Seranim are marching toward Promethea. And the Prometheans decide to meet them in this region that is composed of these deep, narrow canyons. And so you have numerous these deep, narrow canyons that are filled with these soldiers heading into the conflict. And building up to this point, it's all about the Seranim approaching the defensive lines of the Prometheans. And these horrible sounds that they hear, these drums and these screaming horns that the Prometheans use to terrify the attackers. And there is a difference, as there always is in the peoples of man, in the way they fight and what they fight for and what they fight with. And that all is true for these page and a half that I'm going to read, just where this battle is beginning. And at the same time that this fight in these many deep, narrow canyons is taking place, excuse me, there is a fight taking place in the heavens among the gods. So let's do this. We'll have this reading. We'll jump into our quick news and laughs after taking a look at that news story. And then we will proceed. We'll listen to some music. And we have the Cask of Amontillado, Edgar Allan Poe. At length, the Seranim turned the final corners, and there looked heavily upon the death that awaited them. Many now stained themselves with urine. Many convulsed and vomited as they swayed over legs that pawed for the earth. Others fell and were devoured, as it were, by spinning gears, trapped beneath the rock of the earth and the weight of the march. For before the advancing Seranim rose an army, blazing eerily in the shadows, their faces hidden beneath the shade of their regal helms, their eyes haunted and forbidding. Then it was, From behind the Promethean lines there came the music of many bows, and a great fog that climbed toward the heavens, and therefrom somber clouds bared glittering teeth, raining in great sheets upon the Sereneme, as the storm driven by the gale. Hundreds wailed in agony as the whistling arrows plunged thickly into flesh, and clutching wildly at the shafts that jutted from throats, shoulders, and chests, the Sereneme thrashed the ground in their death pangs, the darkness tightening its noose around them. Answering, the Sereneme loosed volleys of their own, sending arrows skyward upon high arcs. Yet most reached not the Prometheans, and those with flights both long and true clattered broken-tipped upon Promethean armor. And again the Promethean bows sang, felling the enemy in swollen heaps, hideous, crawling, screaming mounds over which the Sereneme lurched like the dead yet living, the defenders between them and the prize of their lusts. Bereft of their senses, as one driven mad by the jagged screams and echoing visions of dying men, climbing and descending hillocks of stinking flesh laid open under the cleaving velocity of sharpened darts, there issued from their parched throats a scream of madness, as over the shrinking gaps they charged. From the direful collision there came a sickening crunch of wicker against metal, and the snapping of Sereneme bones like dried twigs popping underfoot. When once their momentum was checked, there issued Promethean spear thrusts, perfect in their unison and symmetry, cleaving wicker and sinking through tissue as glowing steel through virgin snow. Driven mad by lust for Promethean women and riches, the Sereneme hurled themselves upon Promethean meat hooks, and there lie dying at their feet, loosing their bowels, their lives speeding from eyes gone cold. Repeatedly, the Promethean lines redeployed, as the dead and dying rose as gruesome platforms from which the Sereneme assailed the defenders. And thus waxed the battle of Fallow's Gate in the deep wedges of the many defiles. Much more, of course, there that you were likely to find interesting in Prometheus Rising. Take Back Your Destiny, a rewriting of the god Prometheus to be the creator of Prometheans, you and I and all of us, Westman in service to white well-being. Let us begin some quick news and laughs, ladies and gentlemen, right after we take a look at this story. Is spooky season insensitive? What to know about the terms racist origins and etiquette? As temperatures cool down and scary Halloween decor goes up, it seems fitting to call October spooky season. However, hurtful connotations associated with the word raise questions of etiquette. What? What is the hurtful connotation for spooky season? I guess just the word spooky. For blacks? Oh my God. Oh my God. You don't want to go downtown. It's spooky, if you know what I mean. They couldn't mean that, do they? During the season of murder mysteries and haunted hayrides, is it insensitive to say that you were spooked? Oh my God. Is this real? Thank you, Herman. I appreciate it. Herman says, nicely read, Jason. Thank you. I appreciate it. Is this real? Thank you, Rapunzel, for finding this in the middle of our spooktacular. That's got a new meaning now. I'm being informed. I got spooked up in here. What happened? You were mugged? I was spooked. Here's what to know about the popular term. According to NPR, spook comes from the Dutch word for apparition or specter. The noun was first used in English around the turn of the 19th century. From there, the word lived a harmless life, as it still does. I mean, is this the new? Is this? Am I like breaking this new mold that they have here? Spook is now a slur to say things are spooky. Give me a break. From there, it lived a harmless life. But in World War II, white American soldiers started referring to the black counterparts as spooks, which, by the way, is also used in special warfare for white guys. According to Newsweek reports, the Black Army pilots fiction who trained at Tuskegee Fiction Institute were referred to as the Spookwaffe, a play on the German Air Force Luftwaffe. Once the word, this is so ridiculous, was linked to race, it wasn't long before, so it was like a compliment. A sociolinguist. So here is an devious anti-white that is figuring out what terms to use and how to undermine white people. So Renee Blake told NPR that the word spook isn't used to. Oh, is this now the S word? For the love of God. In modern times, but there are few recent examples. So it's not used, he says. He told NPR, for blacks. But there are some examples. So, in other words, they're digging for how the white race is evil. A few examples tying it to racial implications. Oh, go off with this. The first is a book, then movie, The Spook Who Sat by the Door, by Sam Greenlee, which depicts a man treated as a token black person when hired by the CIA. The second is the 2000 book and 2003 movie, The Human Stain. So by Philip Roth. His novel tells the story of a professor at a New England college who is forced to resign after he calls two black students spooks. The word spook hasn't just gotten fictional people in trouble. In 2010, Target apologized for selling a Halloween toy called Spook Drop Parachuters. Literally, miniature black figurines with orange parachutes. And in 2018, an elementary school in North Carolina came under fire. Can you just see like the Vietnamese people or whoever it was that were making these for Target? They have no idea. When a student came home with a Spook and gook, an offensive term to people of East and Southeast Asian descent, on his list of vocabulary words to memorize. Sure. While it's clear that a spook has multiple distinct meanings, this is all according to NPR, Blake told NPR that it's still important to think about the context. Be thoughtful. So in other words, white people can't use this word anymore. I really don't care. I mean, I can't even, how many times a year do I say spooky? I don't care what your opinion is. I'm not going to say it more. I'm not going to say it less. I don't care. You can live in the anti-white narrative and yourself. How about that? If anything, all they're doing here is instigating people to make memes and jokes about this. Might have a connotation of referring to a black person in a disparaging way. If someone says, "Did you get spooked?" and there are no black people there, then okay, you mean did you get scared or frightened? So if any black people are present, this Blake is saying you can't say that you can't say, "Did you get spooked? Was it spooky? Was the haunted house spooky?" No, there wasn't a single black person there. I mean, who would say that? Go to hell. All right. Quick news and laughs. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Takesha. I want to play a game. Beside you is a job application.
No! Someone help me get my EBT! My milkshake brings all the boys.
All the boys to the yard. Something. Look at that. Oh, enough.
Maxine Waters has won a Halloween costume contest in California, and she didn't even dress up. Judges unanimously selected her while she was simply walking down a street in her home state. One judge spilled to our reporter, Phil McCracken, "That is the ugliest Halloween costume I've ever seen," though I'm not quite sure what she was going for. I couldn't tell if she was dressed as a gorilla scrotum or Frankenstein. Either way, Maxine won fair and square. I can't get that image out of my head. Her face reminds me of that time someone took a in my Little League catcher's mitt. Maxine Waters was furious when judges tried to hand her the award, telling Phil McCracken, "I was just on my way to the proctologist's office to have my teeth cleaned, and these MAGA extremist judges tried to hand me a trophy for the ugliest Halloween costume. Not my fault. My face looks like a gorilla's taint." In other news, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are still busy trying to get American taxpayers to fund health care for illegal immigrants, refusing to hand out grub stubs to fat Americans until Pedro's gender reassignment surgery is paid for. I'm your host, Richard Gazenia. Stick around for more authentic news after the break.
Oh my God, that is funny. A gorilla scrotum. Halloween is just another day if you were born a sexy pirate. Amen to that. Check out, this is what AI should be used for.
She's my witch.
All right. Okay. Nice. Oh boy. Now see, we would love witches if this is what they were.
She's my witch.
Yeah, I'm just going to watch this about 37 more times. Y'all can come back. Take a look at this. All maids moving forward 2026. I would hire maids if this is how they cleaned. And they've got Cotton Eye Joe playing.
I love your new ride. What are those? Some sort of aerodynamic fins?
Huh? Oh, sorry. It's just upside down.
Wow, the ghost got embarrassed.
I need the help of two strong men from the audience. Gentleman there, what is your name?
Tony.
Tony, do you see any strong men in the audience that might be able to help me out with this? I'm going to need the...
That's funny. And finally, a world like this should absolutely... Where's Cool Papa J Magic? He agrees. This world should be real. Let's rock.
I see your fear. Bowing to the mob, you cower, you sneer. You watch our children burn, but dare not speak. A slave to the anti-whites, you're craven and weak. Cowards and liars, you feed their flame. Betrayers of blood, you cover your shame. You sold your soul, you bowed in fear. But the day will come when judgment's near. You whisper in dark, behind closed doors. But when the light comes, you uphold their wars. In silence, you tremble, you choose to conform, while the blood of our kin is the price of your norm. Pathetic betrayer, a tool of the regime. Your soul rots away in the anti-white dream. Look in the mirror, do you see their chains? You sold your soul and yet nothing remains. In your gut you know the truth you hide, but fear grips tight, it's your only guide.
Give some big salutes. Big salutes. Give some big salutes to Slots for this epic feast, ladies and gentlemen. We've got much more. We got more ghostly stuff, and we have the reading. We got more questions, and we have the reading of the Cask of Amontillado. Edgar Allan Poe. It's going to be epic.
The day will come when judgment's near. You went to a zone, a puppet on strings, while our people cry out. Your cowardice sings. You flee from the fight. In terror you stay as the remainders of Western kind decays. I see the disgust buried deep in your eyes, but you shove it down where the courage dies. In your silence, the victimizers grow bold, and the love of the West is sold. Cowards and liars, you feed their flame. Betrayers of blood, you cover your shame. You sold your soul, you bowed in fear. But the day will come when judgment's near. I am the flame that will not die. I will not stand by while my brothers cry. You too will burn, for you craven deceit. In the end I am the reckoning that you will meet.
10 seconds, be right back.
Happy Halloween and White Wellbeing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with our pop-up rolling, going free Church of the West Halloween special. So happy that you all could make it and come over, all of you great people. I can make it. I just saw Dude Bro Moment in the live chat. Brother, I sang your song. You'll have to rewind or the equivalent thereof to catch earlier in our get-together. It's great to see you. It's great to see the Franklinator is here as well. Anglo-Saxon. Wonderful to see you. Hyperborean Dream. Budgie Burger. Do you eat them things? Them little skinny gristly birds? Good to see you. Good to see Linda Hunter is with us. Hello and welcome to the party. The festival continues. Bass is with us. Janice is here. Hello, Janice. Janice is catching up, I think. Samuski says, want to know the best Halloween costume? Oh, we get that one. Yeah, that's great, man. Let's take a look at the financial gifts right after we pose the next question for tonight. Well, should we do a this or that question? This or that? Witch's hat or vampire teeth? And it doesn't say like for any length of time, or just witch's hat or vampire teeth. Morgan is here. Hello and welcome. How about this one? Let's see. Visit a haunted house or go through a corn maze? We have over here to celebrate big salutes 007s to the great dude, a bro, a moment. He's in the live chat. Show him some love. Get him some ghosts, some ghouls, some jack-o'-lanterns. Get him some celebration raucous emojis. The dude bro moment in on Entropy, aka Dude Bro Moment platform for 50 decibel ringing dollars. Dude Bro Moment, God bless you, brother. Big salutes. You'll find the fox. What does the fox say? A little bit earlier in the gathering today. $50, and with it he says, for white well-being. God bless you, Dude Bro Moment. God bless you. Big salutes. Big Halloween salutes to the Dude Bro Moment. Keep the celebration going. Ghosts and ghouls, jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins and grave markers. They probably have those as emojis. For Hyperborean Dream. Hyperborean Dream. Financially gifting $25 over here on the Dude Bro Moment platform. $25 from the great Hyperborean, Mr. Dream. And he says, for white well-being. And a little jack-o'-lantern emoji. I love it. God bless you. Thank you for that. Big salutes. Big salutes. We will check over here to make sure we didn't miss anybody. All right. No misses. Nope, no misses. Okay, very good. Thank you all who celebrate. Everybody who celebrates. JK160 would rather be in a corn maze. Vampire Fang says Garlos. Vampire Fangs over Witch's Hat. Anglo-Saxon says vampire teeth over the Witch's Hat. Heretic, noigot.org, Heretic White Positivity says Witch's Hat over vampire teeth. Witch's Hat. I can only tell you this about a corn maze. Don't get trapped in one with Rapunzel. She doesn't know the way. She doesn't know the way. She thinks she knows the way. How does anyone know if you can't shoot a ghost if no one tries? Says the Westman. Exactly. Every time I think there's a ghost, I'm ready to blow him away. Like, I'm not out there with a crucifix. I'm out there with a flashlight, and we're ready to rock and roll, baby. I got a lot of rounds to put down range. If need be. Could you imagine how, like, affronted a ghost would be if it wouldn't work? Would he be just really confused? Would he be like, you can't shoot me? I died in a Prius 6 years ago. I'm bored and I came to just haunt the shit out of you. Do we have any more votes? Do we have any more druthers? Forno does rule. We played a great Forno, very scary song at the very beginning of our gathering today. Check it out when we're done. Matthew sending love over there from the UK. Much love back from the once great state of Virginia. Budgie says some people don't need a costume. Well, that's a lot of truth there. A lot of the anti-whites, they don't. Dude Bro Moment went back and listened and he said, you killed it. Love it, bro. Oh, man, that's awesome. Thank you very much. That was such a hit song years back. I must have, when it came out, I must have listened 100 times. Oh, Samuski. Now, Samuski's really throwing down the Halloween gauntlet here. He says he bets that dragon's breath, it's these shells that could go into the shotgun, that would hit a ghost. Don't be in your house when you try that. Try that on ghosts outside. Dude, Bro Moment says his face hurts. It was so awesome. That's awesome, brother. Thank you. Nameless One says he's witchy enough for the hat, but will probably be sexier with fangs. I remember when I was a little boy, and I thought that would be the coolest thing. I already have, these kind of larger incisor, pointy incisors. So I thought, wouldn't that be something really like hanging out over my bottom lip or something? JK160 says, Fernola's a rock legend. That he is. Carlos says, Sam and Dean, white ghost hunters, they tell you that you can shoot a ghost. Are you serious? All right. Let's see. As we are getting late, long in the tooth, talking about that. And we have, I think, maybe just a couple more questions, and then I think The only thing left is the Cask of Amontillado. Live reading. Janitor of White Noir over here. Great to see you, champion. Heuristic Halloween. Epic Riz over here, my brother. Epic Riz. Thank you and great to see you. And then we will go over for no more than an hour or so for a Rebel Roundtable. You get the mic. You can share your thoughts. Let's see about a couple more of these. Let's see. Anything more? Anything more catchy to really get some conversation going? Have you ever, if you haven't seen a ghost, have you ever thought that you felt the presence of a ghost or an entity? Or what about this? What was one of the scariest movies that you've ever watched? One of the scariest movies. I got to tell you, there was one, and maybe you can help me remember the name of it. It was actually about alien abduction. And it was really just one moment of the movie that I was like, wow, that's truly horrifying. The woman who is getting abducted by aliens, and this is no like friendly, just a little ass probing alien abduction kind of a thing, but like terrifying. She was maybe a psychologist, and she had set out a recorder for to record while she's sleeping, to see if there's any sounds, to see if there's anything. And then she goes to work and she gives the recorder to her secretary to review at the start of the day. Well, the secretary in the movie quits, crying, she's bawling, and she just bolts. And so the woman's like, what's on the recording? And then finally they get around to playing this recording. And oh my God, it's just audio. So your imagination is running and you hear these absolutely like blood curdling screams as she's being dragged away by this force that these aliens are able to exert on her. Does anybody know that movie? Does anybody know the one I'm talking about? Man. I always thought, boy, if they come for me, I hope they could do at least as good a job as the anesthesiologist. Out cold. Don't want to remember. Did you guys hear about the corn maze that they shut down because of fights? And the owners keep getting called racists. No. This is the Westman talking about that. Where was that? Tree Godfather's with us. He says, spooky. We are totally spooky here. And I'm the spookiest of the spooksters. Was it called The Unexplained? Garlos? It's like the entire rest of the movie was, I can't even remember. It was so lame. But that recording, playing that recording part, I was like, yeah. If I woke up the next day and I was like, a little bit of playback, let's see what my night was like. And that's what I heard. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I would handle that moving forward. Supernatural? Carlos. A series called Supernatural was the scariest that he has, or one of the scariest that he has ever seen. You know, I did something really, when I was a very young child, and I was over at a friend's house, and he got this great idea for us to watch Nightmare on Elm Street. And the sun was going to be down. It was going to be very late by the time I had to get on my bicycle and ride home. I didn't even think about that, but I think I broke a land speed record on my way home. The whole time I'm thinking, he can't run as fast as I could ride this bicycle. Dude bro moment. Oh, it's totally true and based. Idiocracy is terrifying. And I haven't even seen the movie. I've only seen clips and know the premise. Terrifying. The original, When a Stranger Calls, Janice says, really terrified her. Tag me as @NoWhiteGuilt with the movie and the one thing or two things about it that really got to you. SPW is in the live chat. Hello and welcome. Well, we've been singing tonight. We've been reading. We did a flashback to a Halloween past. We played The Raven. We did some quick news and laughs. We've been asking Halloween questions. We had to look at Uncle Murray again because he stopped by. Best friend of Jesus. God bless you. Good to see you. Horror movies are boring to me, says Samuski. I fell asleep halfway through watching The Exorcist, and my friends made me watch it again. You want scary? Try living real life. True? True? Based? Skibbity? Sup, my spooker? I mean, is it okay to say spooky without the hard Y? That probably makes it acceptable. Westman says, the title says Virginia for the Corn Maze. Now I'm missing something. Is that the movie or the television series? Samuski says Halloween is for honoring your ancestors and celebrating them. The fourth kind, says Garlos. Dude Bro Moment says the movie Jason Goes to Hell has a finger splitting scene that he couldn't take. That sounds painful. Godfather says horror movies are definitely white biospirit. Svengoolie, says Cindy Ben, is about all the horror I can take. Oh, the corn maze that got shut down. Okay, I gotcha. Children of the Corn, says Dennis. Franklin pointing out, I think, the truth. Most horror movies aren't any good. I think they're not, they don't speak to so many of them. The power of the white man's imagination. If you leave more of it to our imagination, it will be really in my opinion, scarier than most of the time when they present a monster. Yeah, it's, I guess, the difference between horror movies, psychological thrillers, slash films. And of course, so many of like the slash, like gory films, they tried to make up for the lack of content with boobies. And that worked for me. Let's see. If you had to live in a Halloween movie, which one would you choose and why? That's kind of a difficult because you're inserting yourself into, well, I guess the one with the most boobies. If you had to live in a Halloween movie, which one would you choose and why? I think I would choose another Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it was called Dream Warriors, where you had power in your dream and you could fight back, even though I think they all still got killed. But at least you could fight back. Pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds or pumpkin seeds or pumpkin pie, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, you know, while we're thinking about that, why don't we do this instead? Anglo-Saxon NWG, big salutes for the creation of that piece. The Westman over here says, oh, we got that, the corn maze. Nameless one says, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was fun. The original one had a lot of suspense. The suspense is really where it's at. Yeah. What else do we have here? The Great Franklinator. Alfred Hitchcock Presents had some good episodes. It sure did. Alfred Hitchcock, Twilight Zone back in the day. They made you think. One of the scariest horror movies for me was Smile, says the Westman, because of the concept. Budgie says, Children of the Boring. That was a really slow, I don't think I got through it. Anglo-Saxon says, Psycho was scary. Tree Godfather says, did you carve a pumpkin? Not this year, my brother. But I have carved many a pumpkin. Sam Muskie says, boobies are an integral part of Halloween movies. They absolutely are and should be. The screen leapt on me. Give me a moment here. Where did everybody go? Okay, here we go. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is a movie I wouldn't mind living in. I don't know what that movie is. There were cool, good old boys, and the cabin they were fixing up had potential. Well, that sounds awesome. Dude, bro, moment. I'll have to check that out. Jammin' tunes, says Samuski. Absolutely. Dennis says he's loving the grind. Absolutely. Sweet guitar solo. Awesome guitar, says JK160. Ay has joined us. I've been looking forward to this stream. Happy Halloween. Sadly, I last checked before you started, and YouTube didn't recommend. I expect that from them. That's how they operate. But you can go back and you can watch from the beginning. Many glorious things have happened over the course of this gathering. I spoke with the creator himself. If you can't find that part, I guess it wasn't meant for you, my brother. But who knows? Have a look. JK160 said Beetlejuice would be a fun movie to live inside, if that's what you're thinking. Tree Godfather, boobs. Yeah, the thing about boobs and cleavage is that boobs lower a guy's IQ by 50% per boob. So it has a very interesting effect on us. Wasn't Beetlejuice, wasn't that where he says, it's showtime? Isn't that the one? It's showtime. Or is that a different movie? And they have the song. What else does he do? I mean, that movie was pretty good back in the day. What's the song? Shake, 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 senora. Shake your body line. Work, 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 senora. Work it all the time. Dance, 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 senora. Something. Jump in the line. Rock your body on time. Okay. Jump in the line. Rock your body on time. That's at the end, I think. Dude, bro, movement says, yes, it was. Yeah, that had some good acting. That was Beetlejuice, says JK160. Yeah. Garlo said, the mask probably said it too. Yeah, probably. Yep, jump in the line. What do you think about Tim Burton? His claymation stuff was great, I thought. Yeah, the claymation. There's a lot of these styles that are just so fascinating and entertaining that are largely abandoned in favor of this really generic, kitschy, Jeep Girl is here, hello and welcome. Buddha-cha, hello and welcome. Yeah, we had a reading from Prometheus Rising, and now we're going to have a live read of the Cask of Amontillado. And as I said, my deepest apologies for not being able to have time to really get prepared. Oh yeah, dude, bro moment. He hawked a sloogie into his jacket. That's right. He went, and then he went, save that for later. That would be great to be able to play that character or one like it in a movie. Did you see Wallace and Gromit, the Were Bunny? You know, I must have seen some of that because the name is coming back to me, but I can't recall. Budgie, I guess, is wondering if there are boobies in a cask of Amontillado. I don't think so. I don't recall that. As I said, I was required to read it in high school, and I refused. And then I read it on my own sometime in my early 20s. And I know that there are some challenging words because they're Italian or French or Latin. But we'll make the most of it. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, dude, bro moment. Not a movie, but an episode of a TV show. It is the true story. True story and investigation discovery, your worst nightmare series. Now, what are you referring to? But I'm not, Janice. Let me step it back. Oh, okay. So this is like a whole series with Ted Bundy and is that Zac Efron? Okay. So these were like real serial killers. Well, yeah, that's one of those things that when you see these monsters and you just get engrossed, and that's the proper word for it, with how their minds malfunction and how they can end up behaving the way they do. So, yeah. Anglo-Saxon says Sydney Sweeney has good genes. Boy, she does. All right. Let's see how this goes. Now, what's happening here is some wealthy guy in Italy is insulted by a wine connoisseur who like mingles among the wealthy in Italy. And the wealthy guy has tolerated this guy with all of these like little jabs. It seems like for years. But then there was a grievous insult at some point. And so the wealthy guy decides he's going to avenge himself. Has anybody read this? Does anybody remember it? Mestizo Cough says, enjoying country fried steak and watching NWG stream. Budgie says Jeffrey Dahmer was the most interesting of these psychopathic murderers. Wild. And they always, with these, all these cases, they act like, well, we didn't see that coming. And then they dig in and they're like, oh yeah, well, he was like eating roadkill and setting fire to puppies his whole childhood. You're like, wait, what? You didn't see that coming? With all of them. You end up, what's this one guy's name? Another serial killer. It's from back in the day. And it was another one where nobody saw it coming. He was just like a regular guy. And then you find out his mother was raping him as a little boy. Yep. Could have never seen that would go wrong. Like, how would that screw him up at all? Thank you, Zamuski. I appreciate it. Well, we're going to give it the old college try, shall we? The old Westman try. How does that sound? That could be the new saying. And if it goes wrong, we'll just say that I need more carrots. If people recognize the reference from a couple of streams back, I'm going to need more carrots. The Cask of Amontillado. 1,000 injuries of Fortunato I had borne as best I could. But when he ventured upon insult, I vowed revenge. You, who so well know the nature of my soul, will not suppose, however, that I gave utterance to a threat. At length, I would be avenged. This was a point definitively settled. But the very definitiveness with which it was resolved precluded the idea of risk. I must not only punish, but punish with impunity. A wrong is unredressed when retribution overtakes its redresser. It is equally unredressed when the avenger fails to make himself felt as such to him who has done the wrong. It must be understood that neither by word nor deed had I given Fortunato cause to doubt my good will. I continued, as was my wont, to smile in his face, and he did not perceive that my smile now was at the thought of his immolation. He had a weak point, this Fortunato. Although in other regards he was a man to be respected and even feared. He prided himself on his connoisseurship in wine. Few Italians have the true virtuoso spirit. For the most part, their enthusiasm is adopted to suit the time and opportunity, to practice imposture upon the British and Austrian millionaires. In painting and gemmery, Fortunato, like his countrymen, was a quack. But in the matter of old wines, he was sincere. In this respect, I did not differ from him materially. I was skillful in the Italian vintages myself, and bought largely whenever I could. It was about dusk, one evening during the supreme madness of the carnival season, that I encountered my friend. He accosted me with excessive warmth, for he had been drinking much. The man wore motley. He had on a tight-fitting party-striped dress, and his head was surmounted by the conical cap and bells. I was so pleased to see him that I thought I should never have done wringing his hand. I said to him, "My dear Fortunato, you are luckily met. How remarkably well you are looking today. But I have received a pipe of what passes for Amontillado, and I have my doubts." "How?" said he. "Amontillado? A pipe? Impossible. And in the middle of carnival? I have my doubts, I replied. And I was silly enough to pay the full Amontillado price without consulting you in the matter. You were not to be found, and I was fearful of losing the bargain. Amontillado? I have my doubts. Amontillado! I must satisfy them. Amontillado? As you are engaged, I am on my way to Lucchesi. If anyone has a critical turn, it is he. He will tell me. Lucchesi cannot tell Amontillado from sherry. And yet, some fools will have it that his taste is a match for your own. Come, let us go. Whither? To your vaults? My friend, no. I will not impose upon your good nature. I perceive you have an engagement. Lucchesi, I have no engagement. Come. My friend, no. It is not the engagement, but the severe cold with which I perceive you are afflicted. The vaults are insufferably damp. They are encrusted with nitre. Let us go, nevertheless. The cold is merely nothing. Amontillado! You have been imposed upon. And as for Lucchesi, he cannot distinguish sherry from Amontillado. Thus speaking, Fortunato possessed himself of my arm, putting on a mask of black silk and drawing a roquelaure closely about my person. I suffered him to hurry me to my palazzo. There were no attendants at home. They had absconded to make merry in honor of the time. I had told them that I should not return until the morning, and I had given them explicit orders not to stir from the house. These orders were sufficient, I well knew, to ensure their immediate disappearance, one and all, as soon as my back was turned. I took from their sconces 2 flambeaux, and giving one to Fortunato, bowed him through several suites of rooms to the archway that led into the vaults. I passed down a long and winding staircase, requesting him to be cautious as he followed. We came at length to the foot of the descent and stood together on the damp ground of the catacombs of the Montresors. The gait of my friend was unsteady, and the bells upon his cap jingled as he strode. "The pipe," he said. "It is farther on," said I. "But observe the white webwork which gleams from these cavern walls." He turned toward me and looked into my eyes with 2 filmy orbs that distilled the rheum of intoxication. "Nitre?" he asked at length. "Nitre," I replied. "How long have you had that cough?" My poor friend found it impossible to reply for many minutes. "It is nothing," he said at last. "Come," said I, with decision. "We will go back. Your health is precious. You are rich, respected, admired, beloved. You are happy, as once I was. You are a man to be missed. For me, it is no matter. We will go back. You will be ill, and I cannot be responsible. Besides, there is Lucchesi." "Enough," he said. The cough is a mere nothing. It will not kill me. I shall not die of a cough. True, true, I replied. And indeed, I had no intention of alarming you unnecessarily. But you should use all proper caution. A draught of this Madoc will defend us from the damps. Here, I kicked off the neck of a bottle, which I drew from a long row of its fellows that lay upon the mold. Drink, I said, presenting him the wine. He raised it to his lips with a leer. He paused and nodded to me familiarly while his bells jingled. I drink, he said, to the buried that repose around us. And I too, your long life. He again took my arm, and we proceeded. These vaults, he said, are extensive. The Montresors, I replied, were a great and numerous family. I forget your arms. A huge human foot door in a field azure. The foot crashes a serpent rampant, whose fangs are embedded in its heel. And the motto? Nemo me impune lacessit. No one attacks me with impunity. Good, he said. The wine sparkled in his eyes, and the bells jingled. My own fancy grew warm with the Madoc. We had passed through walls of piled bones, with casks and puncheons intermingling, into the inmost recesses of the catacombs. I paused again, and this time I made bold to seize Fortunato by an arm above the elbow. The nitre, I said. See, it increases. It hangs like moss upon the vaults. We are below the river's bed. The drops of moisture trickle among the bones. Come, we will go back, ere it's too late. Your cough. It is nothing, he said. Let us go on. But first, another draught of the Madoc. I broke and reached him a flacon hors de grave. He emptied it at a breath. His eyes flashed with a fierce light. He laughed and threw the bottle upwards with a gesticulation I did not understand. I looked at him in surprise. He repeated the movement, a grotesque one. You do not comprehend, he said. Not I replied. Then you are not of the Brotherhood. How? You are not of the Masons. Yes, yes, I said. Yes, yes. You? Impossible. A Mason? A Mason, I replied. A sign, he said. It is this, I answered, producing a trowel from beneath the folds of my roquelaure. You jest, he exclaimed, recoiling a few paces. But let us proceed to Amontillado. Be it so, I said, replacing the tool beneath the cloak and again offering him my arm. He leaned upon it heavily. We continued our route in search of the Amontillado. We passed through a range of low arches, descended, passed on, and descending again, arrived at a deep crypt, in which the foulness of the air caused our flambeau rather to glow than flame. At the most remote end of the crypt, there appeared another, less spacious. Its walls had been lined with human remains, piled to the vault overhead in the fashion of the great catacombs of Paris. 3 sides of this interior crypt were still ornamented in this manner. From the 4th, the bones had been thrown down and lay promiscuously upon the earth, forming at one point a mound of some size. Within the wall thus exposed by the displacing of the bones, we perceived a still interior recess, in depth about 4 feet, in width 3, in height 6 or 7. It seemed to have been constructed for no especial use within itself, but formed merely the interval between 2 of the colossal supports of the roof of the catacombs, and was backed by one of their circumscribing walls of solid granite. It was in vain that Fortunato, uplifting his dull torch, endeavored to pry into the depths of the recess. In its termination, the feeble light did not enable us to see. "Proceed," I said. "Herein is the Amontillado. As for Lucchesi—" "He is an ignoramus," interrupted my friend, and he stepped unsteadily forward, while I followed immediately at his heels. In an instant he had reached the extremity of the niche, and finding his progress arrested by the rock, stood stupidly bewildered. A moment more, and I had fettered him to the granite. In its surface were 2 iron staples, distinct from each other about 2 feet horizontally. From one of these deepened a short chain, from the other a padlock. Throwing the links about his waist, it was but the work of a few seconds to secure it. He was too much astounded to resist. Withdrawing the key, I stepped back from the recess. "Pass your hand," I said, "over the wall. You cannot help feeling the nitre. Indeed, it is very damp. Once more, let me implore you to return. No? Then I will positively leave you. But I must first render you all the little attention in my power." "The Amontillado!" ejaculated my friend, not yet recovered from his astonishment. "True," I replied, "the Amontillado." As I said these words, I busied myself among the pile of bones of which I have spoken before. Throwing them aside, I soon uncovered a quantity of building stone and mortar. With these materials, and with the aid of my trowel, I began vigorously to wall up the entrance of the niche. I had scarcely laid the first tier of my masonry when I discovered that the intoxication of Fortunato had in a great measure worn off. The earliest indication I had of this was a low moaning cry from the depth of the recess. It was not the cry of a drunken man. There was then a long and obstinate silence. I laid the 2nd tier, and the 3rd, and the 4th. And then I heard the furious vibrations of the chain. The noise lasted for several minutes, during which, that I might hearken to it with more satisfaction, I ceased my labors and sat down upon the bones. When at last the clanking subsided, I resumed the trowel and finished without interruption the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th tier. The wall was now nearly upon a level with my breast. I again paused, and holding the flambeau over the mason work, threw a few feeble rays upon the figure within. A succession of loud and shrill screams, bursting suddenly from the throat of the chained form, seemed to thrust me violently backward. For a brief moment I hesitated. I trembled. Unsheathing my rapier, I began to grope with it about the recess. But the thought of an instant reassured me. I placed my hand upon the solid fabric of the catacombs and felt satisfied. I reapproached the wall. I replied to the yells of him who clamored. I re-echoed. I aided. I surpassed them in volume and in strength. I did this, and the clamor grew still. It was now midnight, and my task was drawing to a close. I had completed the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th tier. I had finished a portion of the last and the 11th. There remained but a single stone to be fitted and plastered in. I struggled with its weight. I placed it partially in its destined position. But now there came from out of the niche a low laugh that erected the hairs upon my head. It was succeeded by a sad voice, which I had difficulty in recognizing as that of the noble Fortunato. The voice said, "Ha ha ha. A very good joke indeed. An excellent jest. We will have many a rich laugh about it at the palazzo. Over wine." "The Amontillado," I said. "Yes, the Amontillado. But is it not getting late? Will not they be awaiting us at the palazzo? The Lady Fortunato and the rest? Let us be gone." "Yes," I said. "Let us be gone." "For the love of God, Montresor!" "Yes," I said. "For the love of God." But to these words, I hearkened in vain for a reply. I grew impatient. I called aloud, "Fortunato!" No answer. I called again, "Fortunato!" No answer still. I thrust a torch through the remaining aperture and let it fall within. There came forth in return only a jingling of the bells. My heart grew sick on account of the dampness of the catacombs. I hastened to make an end of my labor. I forced the last stone into its position. I plastered it up. Against the new masonry, I re-erected the old rampart of bones. For the half of a century, no mortal has disturbed them. In requiescant in pace. Rest in peace. The Cask of Amontillado, Edgar Allan Poe, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming to the end of our Halloween special pop-up roll-in going free. Tag me as No White Guilt if you have anything final to say. Happy Halloween to all of you. We'll be popping onto Ecstasy for a space no more than an hour right after we wrap up here. I want to thank everybody for coming over on this Halloween. I know there are many things you could be doing, and yet you are here. I appreciate it. I will be transported by Maximilian von Fock immediately back to my office, and in moments, once we wrap, we will be on X, and I will look for you there. I will give you the mic if you would like to speak, but otherwise, thank you so much for coming over. Final look over at our options for chatting. And maybe in the future, if you all have some recommendations for some live reads, we can do those. When it comes to these warped killers' minds, I think of the greater scheme of things. Polite society requires a strong death penalty. The same system Victorian Britain had. Yes, I says yes. It is of the spirit of the West to say, okay, you're crazy. That's why you did it. Here's the chair. Happy Halloween, everybody. Totally epic fun. Thank you all for coming over. Big salutes. Remember, every day at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Shade Tree. You want to make it over there. And if you can, not only make it over there and participate, have the guts, have the energy to offer up some of your time to help operate the Shade Tree and contribute in different ways that are needed over there to keep that project running along smoothly and growing as it's growing beautifully. Make sure you tweet and retweet and quote tweet those spaces so that people will come and check them out, and more will come to know of the liberation that is the Go Free dialogic. I will be back on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Church of the West. As always, love you all. Roll out.